I own 750 books. As of right in this moment, that number definitely fluctuates. And those 750 books are split across 8 shelves throughout this room. And some of these shelves definitely reflect me and my reading tastes better than others. But the aim of the game for having a personal library is to have a curated collection that reflects me. So, welcome to Shelf Reflection, episode 1. This is the new vlog series that I have been wanting to do for years, in all honesty, and I just have kept putting it off for whatever reason. Hasn't been the right time, haven't had the motivation to do it, blah 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 blah. We're putting a stop to that. Welcome to Shelf Reflections. This vlog series will be focusing on me getting through my shelves, getting through the unread books on my shelves and ensuring that the books on my shelves are a reflection of me, my personal reading taste, as my reading taste evolves, but also just getting down that number of unread books as well, as is always the game when you have a library and multiple unread books. And we are talking 308 at the point of filming this. But although that number might sound large, when you put it next to the 750 owned books, I am more in the green. I have recently done all my owned unread books video that's gone up at some point in January, where I did explain that I am in the green. I am at 41% of my library being unread. Throughout this series we will hope to get that down a bit more, ideally, and also just the rest of my stats to be more reflective of me and my library. So I do have a spreadsheet of my library. Let me screen record this and show it to you. Ta-da! There it is. It will be on screen somewhere for you. So here we can see the 750, 308 unread and the percentages, ongoing series, completed series, DNF series, and then the genres that I do read throughout. And then we can also filter by age and status and so on. So hopefully, through reflecting on my shelves, this will be more like what I want it to be like. So, for example, fantasy makes up the biggest percentage of my shelves. It is 71.7% of my shelves. That's probably about right. But if we filter this down, let's go horror. Horror only makes up 3.6% of my shelves. The point being, we're gonna make this more reflective of me throughout. And we can see the unread versus read in the fantasy genre, and TBR, read, DNF, etc. But what is gonna come in handy for us is this section down here, shelf by shelf. The aim of this game is gonna be, we are going to randomly generate a shelf for me to read from. Okay, I have 8 bookcases. Each of those cases has 7 shelves. So we're going to roll a d8 and we're going to roll a d8 to randomly generate what shelf I'm reading from. And then we will select it, see what the stats are for it. As you can see, for 1.1, there are 24 books on it and 15 of those are unread. That's a terrible ratio for that shelf. We're gonna land on a shelf, and shelf by shelf we are going to reflect on said shelf, hence Shelf Reflections. Shout out to Black Cat Brit for the name of this series as well. I did mention in my 2024 goals video that this was the plan and I was looking for a name for it. Brit, thank you for your suggestion. It very much encompasses what I wanted to do with this series, so thanks, Brit. Yeah, okay. I have another tab with a d8, so let's get cracking. Which bookcase am I going for? Some of these shelves are definitely better than others because, for example, over here there's a lot of variety on the shelves, but over here there's not a lot of variety on the shelves. And then behind you is my middle grade shelf, where obviously there's not that much variety either. So I could end up, I don't know, reading Brandon Sanderson for a week. Let's pray that that doesn't happen. Right, rolling the dice now. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's middle grade. Not what I wanted for this first one. Okay, there are only 6 shelves over there, though, really. Here's a D6. 3. That is a full shelf of middle grade. Okay, let's go to shelf 5.3. Back in this tab, down we go. 5.3. There's only 7 unread books on this shelf. Okay, let's go back to my library tab, because over here I can then filter it to show you exactly what is on shelf 5.3. Ooh, Extraordinary Adventures of Alice Tonks. A bunch of middle grade that I've read. Totoro. Jacqueline Moriarty. Okay. It's a middle grade shelf. This is what I meant about this could go terribly and not be the vibe. But we are tackling shelf 5.3. We are gonna get this status looking a little bit better. I doubt I'll read all 7 of those books because we're only here for a week, but we'll see what progress I can make in a week. Let's get that 25% down. Okay, let's go to the shelf. You guys don't too often get to see this corner of my room, but this here is shelf 5.3. 1, 2, 3. And I have read 75% of this shelf, so let's see what I haven't read. One of those things is The Extraordinary Adventures of Alice Tonks, which actually I have been excited to read. There's talking seagulls, but this screams summer read. Maybe that's what I need. It is Blue Monday today. Maybe a summery read could help us out here. I don't know. My Neighbor Totoro, which is the novelisation of the Ghibli movie, which I love. So I'm not mad about that, to be fair. House on Hoarder Hill, middle grade horror. Like a Charm by L. McNichol. I know Gavin loves this, and he actually got it for me and got it signed, so I should definitely read it. And then we've got the continuation of the Jacqueline Moriarty series. I really enjoyed the first one, but I just don't know if I have a great desire to continue it. And then we've got Anya and the Nightingale over there as well. I loved Anya and the Dragon. It was a really quick read. But of all of these, the ones I'm most looking forward to reading would be these 2. And now I'm thinking about Alice Tonks. I'm gonna start with Alice Tonks. This is about Alice, who needs to solve a mystery. She has a strange encounter with a seagull on her first day of boarding school, which leaves her with a lot of questions. Why does a bird need her help, and why can she talk to seagulls? The seagull says to her, "It's not your chips I'm after, Alice." The seagull said sternly, "We've got a job for you." That doesn't really tell me a great deal about what this book is about, but let's go. You really, dog? Oh. What are you doing? You doing me, dog? You doing me, puppy? Where's your toys? I don't know where any of your monkeys are. Where's your monkey? Oh, okay, he's settled down now. Anyway, hello. I have finished. Can't get my bookmark out. Wedged in the back of it. I have finished The Extraordinary Adventures of Alice Tonks. This was not what I expected it to be, because the blurb doesn't actually tell us, like, what the adventure is or anything. All we get from the blurb is that Alice has a lot of questions. Why does a seagull need her help? Why can she talk to seagulls? With new friends behind her, can Alice harness her new magic powers and become the hero she never imagined? As in, can talk to animals? No, as in can become an animal, can transform into an animal. She can shapeshift. She is a switcher, is what they called her, which is why the animals have come to her and they need her help. And there is an animal snatcher on the loose. Alice has joined this new boarding school that her nan has some sort of connection to. And then the animals start talking to her, asking for help because someone is stealing animals and they're going missing. And as Alice is a switcher, she can help them get inside information from the human side and help them uncover who the animal snatcher is. Alongside that, though, we have Alice being in a new school, making new friends, and we also have the fact that Alice is autistic and she finds it difficult to fit in and make friends, and it was cute to see her like build relationships with certain characters to be able to trust them with saying that she is autistic and seeing their acceptance. And on the flip side of that, we did have, of course, when you're a new girl at a new school and there's the bullies that are less accepting of that. But it was nice to see that representation in there. Cannot speak for its accuracy at all, of course, but it was nice to see it in there and to see Alice as the hero of the hour. There were parts of this that I liked, parts of this that I didn't like. Overall, it's a middle grade adventure, and I feel like, is there much more that middle grade adventures can do for me? Have I read too many of them? Have I moved beyond that? We all know that I haven't been loving middle grade as much in recent times as I did in the past. So when the shelf that we pulled ended up being this middle grade shelf over here, my camera battery died, apologies. But yeah, when the shelf that ended up being pulled was this middle grade shelf over there, I wasn't the most excited I've ever been. I would have preferred for it to be something else, but by the nature of this vlog series, we are reflecting on that shelf. This was fun. This was fine. I have given this 3 stars. It was predictable. It had everything that a middle grade adventure should have and would have. Would I recommend this to my sisters? Yes. And I think that's probably how I need to think about middle grade when I'm reviewing it and rating it, is would I recommend it to my sisters. I actually think that my sisters would really enjoy this, so I might end up donating this their way. Do I want it to remain on my shelves? Is this a reflection of my reading taste? Not anymore. Am I glad to have read it? Yes. For now, it can go back on my shelf and just bring that red percentage up just a smidgen. But ultimately, I reckon I will pass this one along to my sisters, and I do think that they would enjoy it a lot more than I did, especially Lexi with like the animals in this. She's a big animal lover, and I think that she would have a lot more fun with it. So there we go, there's one done. And I'm going to move on to the next book from shelf 5.3. And I'm going to go for My Neighbor Totoro. This should be a very quick read. This is the novel of the Studio Ghibli movie by Miyazaki, original story and art by Miyazaki, novel by Sugiko Kubo. I am a big fan of the movie. I love Studio Ghibli films, and for example, Howl's Moving Castle, one of my favourites. Love the movie, love the book. They're very different. Kiki's Delivery Service, love the movie, love the book. They're not quite as different, as this is actually the novel of the movie rather than the movie being based on the novel. It's probably going to be more similar to the actual movie, but I'm excited to give it a go. And it's been on my shelf for a little while, and I love the movie. This is about a pair of sisters who move to the country to be closer to their mother, who is in hospital. Their mother is not doing too well. Their father is very often at work, so they are in the country in this new house, and they meet this Totoro creature. In the woods behind their spooky old house, Satsuki and Mei discover a forest spirit named Totoro. When Mei goes missing, it's up to Satsuki to find her sister, and she'll need help from some new and magical friends. Yes, so Mei, the youngest sister, does go missing at a point. It's on the blurb, so not a spoiler. And obviously I know how the story goes from the movies anyway. Yeah, Mei goes missing, and Satsuki, the older sister, gets help from the spirits from the forest to help to find her sister and bring her back home. I'm gonna get in bed and read this. I'm so cold and I really want to just cozy up with this and read. So that's what I'm gonna do. Book 2 of Shelf 5.3. Let's go. There's even a map at the beginning of the lands that they travel through, and you can see their home here and the forest, the big tree, and then we've got all of the fields and stuff that they end up going through, and the railway line. It's really cool. Let's go. Hello! I was reading My Neighbor Totoro last night. I am about halfway through this now, and it's really cute. It is exactly what I expected it to be, in that it is the movie in book form. So I know what's happening, I know what is to come. Nothing's gonna surprise me about this, I don't think, because it's just the novel of the movie and I know the movie very well. So it's cute, it's quite nostalgic for me because the movie was like such a big part of my childhood. All Studio Ghibli movies were. For example, Howl's Moving Castle, also another one that I love the book and the movie of, although the book and the movie of that one are quite different, whereas this so far is very much the same. I don't know if in the second half maybe things change up a little bit and become a bit more different, but so far it is pretty much exactly the same as the movie, and I'm having a really cute, wholesome time with it. Just thought I'd give you a bit of a halfway update. I don't have an awful lot to say, but I'm having a good time. It's given me warm cozies just because of the nostalgia, so I will finish this today. But in the meantime, we're going to take Finny Boy out for a stroll, and I thought that you might want to come along. So we're going to go to the lake and take him for a walk. So let's go do that. you are in a shelf, so this might echo horrifically for you, but I have finished my Neighbor Totoro. Nostalgic. Very much nostalgic. It read almost exactly like the movie, so I knew what was coming, I knew how it was going to go. There was a section in this where I discovered a deep disrespect for the father of these children. And then there was a section where they go back and visit their family in Tokyo, because they've moved to the country to be closer to the hospital for their mum. There was a section where they go back and visit their family, and again, I found I had a deep disrespect for her family as well, so wasn't into that. But otherwise, cute, nostalgic, kind of exactly what I wanted it to be and hoped it would be. I had a good time. If you've seen the movie, it is the same story. You know how, I think I mentioned before, like with Howl's Moving Castle, the movie and the book are both good but in their own right because they're very different. I don't think this was different to the movie, so if you were like wanting, I don't know, something deeper from the book that maybe didn't get into the movie, I don't think it has that, so something to be aware of. But overall, probably purely just for the nostalgia, this one's getting 4 stars from me, and it has been a really cute time reading it. I've really enjoyed myself, and the illustrations and stuff throughout. When I started, I didn't know that it had these like original illustrations. Is that gonna focus? There we go. I didn't know it had these, and it's really cute. And there's a few scattered throughout the book. There's another one. Really cute. I really liked it. But that is book 2 from shelf 5.3 done, which means I need to pick my next book from shelf 5.3, and I think I'm going to go for this one. The House on Hoarder Hill by Mickey Lish and Kelly Ngai. This is spooky magical adventure. Thinking about my options that I've got left on this shelf, it is very much adventure with a sprinkle of magic in it. That's what a lot of middle grade is. But this one has the spooky element as well, and what I've got left is all very much the same. Adventure and magic, adventure and magic, adventure and magic. So because this one's got a little bit different, and because I have already had adventure and magic, and also kind of adventure and magic, but with nostalgia, I think I want to go for something with a slightly different vibe, just to try and keep it a bit different within the limited options. There's a spooky house on Hoarder Hill, and Hetty and Spencer see cryptic messages appear around the house. What is their magician grandfather up to? What is he not telling them about the disappearance of their grandmother? Ooh, with the help of a talking stag's head and an also talking bear rug and other peculiar spirits, the children set out to discover the truth. Spooky. I will say that spooky middle grades do often tend to be the ones that I have the best time with. I do like a spooky middle grade, so fingers crossed that this one goes well. But yeah, 4 stars for that. So we've had a 3 and a 4. Let's see how we do. You are on shelf 5.3. You are a book. I have finished The House on Hoarder Hill by Mickey Lish and Kelly Nye. This was not middle grade horror. I thought it was. I thought this was more of a spooky, horror-y read. It was not. It was still magical, but magic in terms of like magician and tricks and stuff. And there was a more creepy element to it, but I wouldn't have called it a middle grade horror. Now that I know, I know. So this follows a pair of siblings who go to stay with their grandfather. Their grandfather was a famous magician, however their grandmother went missing many years ago, and it kind of sapped all of the joy out of their grandfather, understandably. He now will not touch magic and will not let anyone else touch anything in his house. He's very strict about these rules, and it is for the protection of other people. So he is collecting in his house all of these magical items in order to protect people from the same fate that the kid's grandmother fell victim to, in that she was participating in one of his magic tricks and she disappeared and has been gone for decades. The kids start getting messages from the house and they think it's from their grandma, but it turns out there are other spirits and magical things lurking in this house as well. It does have a bit of a creepy vibe a little bit, but not enough for me to call it a middle grade horror. I had a fun time with this. I definitely think I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed Alice Tonks, but it was still very much a 3-star read for me. So I think middle grade in general these days is going to struggle to get more than a 3-star from me. So I think we're in 3-star territory. Like, it was fine, it was fun, it was magical, it had some creepy elements, like there are some ghosts and some sinister goings on, and there's like gargoyles and a stone crow, and it had good vibes. But I don't know, I feel like I just can't talk about middle grade anymore. Like, I don't have anything else to say. That is a real problem when you're trying to make a whole video and you've landed on a middle grade shelf. Anyway, I'm gonna do one more book from this shelf, and there are now only 4 unread books left on this shelf. So my options are Like a Charm, Elle McNichol, which I am kind of tempted by, especially because it's signed and personalised. I feel like I should go for this. Honestly, I'm not fancying the Jacqueline Moriarty ones. I'm just not feeling these. And maybe that is time for some reflection. But if I'm not feeling them now, will I ever? Would my sister prefer these? Probably. I might add them to my donation pile for my sister. I love the covers of them, and I think that's the only reason I'm holding on to these. I think if it weren't for how gorgeous I find the covers to this series, I think they would have gone by now. And I can't hold on to them purely for the covers. So I might actually unhaul those ones. Which leaves me with either Like a Charm or Anya and the Nightingale. But I'm feeling this one, I think, more than Anya and the Nightingale. I have read from Elle McNichol before. I think it was A Kind of Spark that I read and enjoyed enough all those years ago when I read it. Don't know how I will feel about this one. This one's set in Edinburgh, I believe. Yes, there's the Bobby dog, whatever his name is. Edinburgh is a city filled with magical creatures. So again, we're going to be magical adventure. Pulled into a world of secrets and spells, Ramya sets out to discover the truth about the hidden folk with only 3 words of warning from her grandfather. Beware the sirens. Middle grade magical adventure. I'm going to give it a go. I don't have the highest hopes. Hello, my eyes look really blue today. I don't know what that's about. But we are done with Like a Charm by Elle McNichol. This was cute, this was fun, this was sweet, heartwarming, very much a tale of belonging and finding your place and your purpose and discovering that you are not useless despite what people may tell you, and you have a place and you have a talent and you are just fine the way you are, no matter what that is. And I think that's something that Elle McNichol does quite well. I've read, what's the one I've read from her? A Kind of Spark as well, and similar sort of themes of a main character who feels like they don't fit in, feels like they don't belong, feels like there's something wrong with them, and the kind of outside factors of people saying exactly that and then discovering that there is something special about them. And in this one, Ramya definitely does discover that there is something special about her and her family, and she is just perfect the way she is. Ramya has dyspraxia, and all her life her family have pretty much told her she's useless, she's not gonna go far in life, she needs so much extra help and support, and she's such a hassle and she's so useless and they can't be bothered with her, and she feels very small. And her grandfather is the only person who's ever seen her as perfect the way she is and given her that unconditional love. There is something magical about this world and something that her grandfather knew about. Unfortunately, her grandfather passes away and leaves Ramya with a book. And this book is Ramya's mission to uncover the secrets and the truths of the hidden folk. And the hidden folk are fairies, sirens, kelpies, vampires, trolls, etc. And they are all very much in this world, but they are under a glamour. And Ramya discovers that she has the ability to see through glamours, so she can see the truth of what lies in the hidden world and the hidden folk. But something is amiss with the hidden folk. A witch has gone missing, which has upset the balance. The sirens are vying for power and are causing some real chaos, and people in Ramya's life are much more tied up in this than she would have ever originally thought at the beginning of this story. She didn't know anything about this. It's like, does everyone in the family know something about these magical creatures except me? And Ramya goes on this journey with her cousin. They form a real good friendship to uncover the truth and discover some things lurking in their family, secrets, hidden pasts, etc., to uncover the truth, to fulfill her grandfather's last wish. Obviously I won't say too much more than that because spoilery, but it's set in Edinburgh and all the locations are like actual places in Edinburgh, so if you've ever been to Edinburgh then it will be a little bit like, haha, I've been there, which is pretty cool. Generally, it reads like it's targeted a much younger audience than maybe some of the other middle grades that I tend to enjoy more so. Similar to Alice Tonks, like it reads for a younger audience, very, very predictable, but I think that's because it's targeting maybe the younger end of middle grade. So very predictable, like as soon as certain characters say certain things you're like, oh okay, so that's right. Which is fine because it is a kid's book, so I don't want to judge it harshly on the fact that I'm not the target audience and I was able to work it out because, you know, I'm a grown-up. I would hope so. But I do think that my sister would love this. Absolutely love this. So this is another one that I'm going to put in the pile for my sister. In terms of rating wise though, I'm going to give it a 3.5. I think this one, I don't know, probably the most enjoyed one, the most uplifting one, the most magical feeling. I just think my sister would love this. I'm going to give it a 3.5. If I was the target audience, or if I read this a few years back when I was super into middle grade, it could well have got higher than that. But right now, with the way I'm feeling about middle grade, and generally a lot of middle grade stories are the same concept of a young child discovers that they have some sort of ability that they didn't know they have. They go on a magical adventure. It is about finding belonging and the truth and discovering their power, etc. It's the same story. Again, reminded me a lot of Alice Tonks. Alice Tonks is autistic. Our main character in here, Ramya, has dyspraxia. It's a similar sort of story of they don't fit in, they're a bit useless to the people around them and are kind of looked down upon for that, but they find out they have this talent, they have this ability, they are special, and putting that to use to find their belonging. But this one just had a bit more heartwarmingness than Alice Tonks did, comparatively. But I am gonna give this one to my sister as well. So of this stack that I've read this week, we've done 4 books. I am keeping 2, and I'm giving 2 to my sister. I am going to give this one and Alice Tonks to my sister. I am going to keep Totoro and The House on Hoarder Hill. So let's go and have a look at shelf 5.3 and just see where we're left. So here it is, shelf 5.3. This one is going to go to my sister. Totoro is going to stay on my shelf in there. Alice Tonks is also going to go to my sister, and Hoarder Hill is going to stay with me right about there. Is that the right order? So that's what it's looking like. However, with shelf reflection, I'm quite happy with most of it. Like, all of these books I love. Up to here, I'm very happy with the reflection of those shelves. These concern me. And then these three, very good. Anya and the Dragon, yes. Leaving Anya and the Nightingale as one that I still want to read, but I'm not getting to in this vlog. These two, upon shelf reflection, I don't think I'm ever going to read. I'm holding on to them purely because the covers are so pretty, but that's not the point of this video. Goodbye, books. This hurts a little bit because they're gorgeous, but this is the goodbye pile. Okay, here we are in the spreadsheet on 5.3. I have filtered it so we've only got 5.3 here, and let us update. So, Extraordinary Adventures of Alice Tonks is now red. My Neighbor Totoro is now red. House on Hoarder Hill is now red. Like a Charm is now red. That puts us in pretty good position. TBR of 3, red of 23, 89.3% of the shelf being red. That's pretty good. Now, let's sort out the unhaul. These are being deleted. They're gone. They're gone. Like a Charm, I've literally just changed it to be red, but it's going. And where's the other one? Alice Tonks is going. Whew, that looks different, doesn't it? Right, let's go back to stats, which now puts us at 95% of shelf 5.3 is red. I have one unread book left on that shelf, which is a shame that I can't do this vlog for longer, but time restraints, because it would have been great to get that to 100%. But for episode 1, considering we landed on middle grade, I'm not mad at how this has gone. I'm happier with those stats, so goodbye spreadsheet for now. And back to me. I didn't want to start with middle grade for this series, but I do think that this has been a good example of what I want this series to be. We are reflecting upon what is on each shelf. We are reading the ones that I haven't got to. We are reflecting on ones I haven't read that maybe I'm not going to read, and reflecting on the ones that I have read. This has been a successful experiment, so I'm calling this a win. I hope you have enjoyed the format of this and this as a vlog concept, because I'm very excited to move on to doing number 2 in this series, episode 2, so I really hope that you have enjoyed. But that is it for episode 1. I do also want to take this opportunity to just give a shout out to some of the other vlogs that are existing in BookTube that follow a similar sort of concept and deserve recognition for being like the inspiration of this era of vlog projects. So shout out especially to Becca from Becca in the Books with her Shelve It and Scrap It series, Gavin with Emboss or Toss as well. I believe Books by Emily Fox does a shelf by shelf series. I haven't watched any of that myself, so I don't know how similar or dissimilar it is, but I have been told that Emily Fox does a similar sort of thing as well, so shout out to that too. My camera battery died. Very rude. But as I was saying, and anyone else who has similar sort of vlog projects where it's getting through the TBR, unhauling things. Steph has started her Read It or Yeet It series. There's lots of them out and about, so I will link those mentioned people down below as well. But hopefully you have enjoyed this little take that I have had. As I say, I've wanted to do this for a long time, like all of last year I was wanting to do it and I just didn't start it. It was very much like a New Year project, and here we are. It's been a new year. I have filmed this in January, I think it's going up in February, but anyway, yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling now. Thanks for watching. I very much hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye!